Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Welcome to Elementals Monday, the inaugural episode, as we go through back issues of the amazing Elementals series from Bill Willingham. We are looking at issue 5 today. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. As you may know, I am working on I had a successful Kickstarter campaign to bring to life Elementals, a 40-year anniversary tribute book to Bill Willingham's Elementals. It's a mixture of old and new interviews, articles, stories, pinups, old art, new art, and all kinds of fun goodies that I am putting together, going to print very soon. Jason Coaches sent me a huge stack of Elementals comics that he got from the dollar bin and suggested I create like Elementals Wednesday or something and go through the back issues as I look for inspiration to complete my book. And Elementals Monday had a better ring to it, so I thought I'm gonna try that. Check out this gorgeous wraparound cover. Low key, I have reviewed like the trade paperback of the first four issues and the first issue, so this is kind of like a thing. It's weird to jump in on issue 5. This is actually the tail end of the first series, but it's so good. It's so poignant and meaningful. I believe in fate and that kind of thing, so I feel like a lot of this was speaking to me as I look for the inspiration to get to the finish line on my book. It's promised in June, and I definitely want to give it to you before that. Anyway, the story so far, the Elementals have been in captivity for an entire year on Noct Island, while Saker has been gathering the supernatural energies to launch his assault on humanity. Finally, Fathom was able to escape out to sea while Ratman, her guard, had relaxed his attention. So the Elementals are a foursome of superheroes that Bill Willingham created to sort of just have an idea to have a comic book during the 80s sort of indie explosion. He needed to come up with something quick and decided to use the Elementals. You know, their powers were given to them by the Elementals: water, fire, earth, air. Kind of Fantastic Four-ish, but amazing. Bill Willingham's art is gorgeous. He started out with like TSR, doing a lot of stuff for Dungeons and Dragons. So he's a fantasy artist at heart, I feel. You know, he's largely known for fables. A little controversial. I have to say, I hesitated a little bit on doing the project, but I love the Elementals so much. It was my gateway to indie comics back in the day from one of the best comic book publishing companies ever, Kamiko. They had such a great model. They only existed for about 5 years. It's so funny what made them great. Was like being such a great indie comic book company, and their decision to try to go to the newsstand is what ultimately killed them. But I mean, it's a deep story. Elementals was kind of sold as an asset to sort of like save the company by this shady guy named who also owns Youngblood and is like sort of a bad actor in the comic book mythos. Bill Willingham said that he sort of defaulted on the agreement. He was supposed to continue publishing Elementals or it would lapse in the public domain, which is commonplace. You know what I mean? Like DC Comics even has that with like Wonder Woman and Superman. Like if they don't publish it, they don't have a right to it. And I think that's fair enough. So 30 plus years later, we're going on 40 years here, the anniversary. Rev has never published it. It's been threatened a few times. So it's considered public domain. And I took that as my cue with a little nudging from from colleague and Elemental superfan, Dan Shaheen, basically talked me into doing the Elementals comic book, and so I'm glad I did it. It has a lot of great stuff. There's some pinups from Craig Hamilton and MichaelFitzTroytv and a bunch of my talented friends and colleagues. I'm very excited about it, and I'll be reviewing it on the channel. So this is kind of a good countdown to the release of that as well. So anyway, I love Bill Willingham's art. It was the draw for me initially. It looks very much like John Byrne. I feel like they're in the same wheelhouse with a very classic, open, superhero style with lots of great hatching, great action, as you can see. Beautiful figures, just very heroic, very cool looking. I love it so much. Monolith is a strong man here. So they all like died, and then the elementals gave, and then they got their elemental powers. So there's so many layers going on here. Like it's like Twin Peaks superheroes. There's supernatural. There's horror. There's body horror. There's one of the greatest supervillains ever created, Shapeshifter. We'll get more into her story, but this was such a moment here. After being like, she's like, I knew you'd survive, Jenny, and she's like taunting her, even as they're like in the midst of this flood that was created by Fathom, this tidal wave that's like devastating the island they've been held captive on. Why didn't she do this sooner? I don't know. But anyway, so she turns into the snake that she is and attacks Morningstar. She's like, I love playing with you. You're one of my favorite torture things. And like, I just feel this page so much. She's like, you've beaten me, you've tortured me, and she just stops and she's like, God, I hate you, you bitch. And then she just like burns the fuck out of her. It is like moments like this that make the elementals so freaking cool, and I love it. It's like one of the best superhero comic books ever. Now I'm getting really excited about like bringing you my elementals book, and it's in the public domain, so anybody can do an elementals book. So many people want one. Go ahead and make one. I'm doing it. Electrocutioner. I love the Destroyers. The Destroyers are kind of like their super villains, which were created for a role playing game called Villains and Vigilantes that Bill Willingham was part of as well. Great, like, weird, rich history here. You know, Bill Willingham clearly believes in the public domain. He's declared Fables public domain, which DC was like, yeah, no, and Elementals as well. So I don't know. Well, it's interesting, the history, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. The team dynamics were so good. I love the relationship of the characters. Um, it's so weird. Everyone's so mean, though. I feel like it was very much the sign of the times. But then I'm like, the more things change, the more things stay the same. I mean, everyone seems so rotted, and they still seem so rotted. And then you look at a comic from the 60s, and they still seem rotted. Are we just rotted as a race? I love it. It feels like so. It's so weird how this wraps up because it's almost anticlimactic. He's been holding them prisoner for a year while he like builds his strength to take over the world, and then Jeff basically just like throws him to the wolves and throws Sager, one of the other greatest villains ever created, back to the demons, and they're like, oh, you know, we'll be able to return to our real powers. Thanks for facilitating that. See you soon. So he's like, well, what did I do? At least we tried. I love it too because they don't always win exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the ultimate, like, it was created by tropes and, you know, cliches with their powers and everything like that. It's the ultimate good versus evil, but it's so nuanced and layered beyond that. There are just so many great pages and moments. Like, you feel the defeat, but you still see the hope in a way. At least we tried, at least someone tried to restore the natural order, and the rumble and the lightning. And the storytelling is just amazing here. Like, this really is like such a hidden gem. You know, when I started deciding to do the anniversary tribute book, and, you know, going to people for, you know, like pinups and seeing if they wanted to do new stories and stuff, I was shocked by the amount of people who have never even heard of this. And it's really just a tragedy. You know, it hurts that it hasn't been reprinted. It hurts that it languished in, you know, questionable hands for years, untouched. And I don't know, you know, it jumped publishers a lot. And when the creator, Bill Willingham, left the art, it definitely was a decline for me. So, but there's a lot of goodness here. They are off the island now. They are free, and they will be kicking off their own adventures. And we haven't seen the last of the Destroyers in this amazing, beautiful art. I think Jason sent me like 30 issues, so I will be getting through them weekly, as and giving you updates on the book as I'm building it. Cannot wait to bring it to you. So happy to have brought this to you. Hopefully, the next episode of Elementals Monday will be a little more cohesive, but I feel like I had some information to give to you. Thanks to my sponsor, Jason Coaches, for sending me the swag to do these reviews. And definitely check out his book, Koji and Maro, the delightfully charming manga that just released its second issue. So that was it, y'all. Elementals Monday. Celebrating Bill Willingham's Elementals, one of the greatest indie superhero books from the 80s, from one of the greatest small publishers, Kamiko, the comic company. And look forward to Elementals Public Dominion, the 40-year anniversary tribute book from Michael Fitzgerald-Troy and friends, coming soon. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I will bring you more soon.